On today's Try to Finish Something, I wanted to share something with you before we get into some stories in my build for today. I received this in the mail. This is my Star Wars wall panel created by Kelly Sterne. I purchased one as soon as they became available. These things are hand-built and amazing. If you don't have one yet, Kelly Sterne, Props and Villainy on Instagram, you gotta get one. They light up, they're cool, look how neat that is. Anyway, alright, so a little bit of insanity for you. So I was driving along, taking my oldest daughter to high school, and I passed by a house that had a pile of crap out in front of their driveway that said free on it. And I thought I saw a projector, like a home projector, and I didn't have a chance to stop, so I told my wife, I said, hey, there's a bunch of stuff out in front of this house. Can you stop and grab that projector for me? I want the lenses off of that thing. And she gave me that, you want me to stop at somebody's house and pick up their trash? It's out there for trash. I said, yeah, but there's a sign that says free. Get it. I don't want to do that. But she did. She stopped. She didn't pick it up, though. She called me later when I was talking to her and said, I didn't get it. It wasn't a projector like you thought it was. It was some weird water housing unit that had all these fittings on it and grills, and it wasn't what you thought it was, and so I left it. And I thought, you left it? That sounds awesome. Needless to say, I went and got it. And it has this little grill and has all these neat fittings. I'm picking up other people's trash for my Star Wars room. I don't know what's wrong with me. I went from there to the dump. And when I was at the dump dropping some stuff off, I looked over in their electronics and they had one of those projector TVs. And I said to the attendant there, hey, do you know if that's still got those lenses inside of it? He handed me a hammer and said, I don't have any other tools, but you're welcome to find out. I beat this out of the TV. I have real issues. I'm picking up trash. I'm taking things from the dump. I'm trying to build a Star Wars room, but that's not exactly what today's project at least started out being. I was trying to make a Ghostbusters Afterlife Death Whistle. It gets hijacked by my Star Wars room build, I'm not gonna lie to you. There's a little bit of Ghostbusters, and there's a whole lot of Star Wars. And that's what I'm gonna do on today's Try to Finish Something. So this is Monster Clay. It's an oil-based clay that doesn't really dry out when left out, it just gets firm when it's cold. And my first try off camera at making the Ghostbusters Death Whistle, I used my kids' oven-baked clay, and I just wasn't really happy with it. With this clay, you can heat it up just a bit in the microwave, and it gets really soft, and as it cools, it hardens. And I'm currently doing this at my kitchen table. I watched the Adam Savage video that I will link in the description, and he did his with a separate second piece that was the jaw. And my oven-baked version, I just did it all as one piece, and I'm going to do it the right way with this one and try and mimic his. Once this has been cooled, I'm going to try and mold and cast it, just to do it. And it's looking okay. I don't plan on getting this perfect in clay. My plan right now is I'm going to get this as close as I can, and then I'm planning on casting it and making some fine-tuning after the first cast, then probably remold it. Still not sure, as I've never really done this before. I had to free up the kitchen table, and now I'm back out in my build room. This is the other room that I'm turning into a Star Wars space, and the lighting in here is really driving me nuts. I'm having to hold it right up to my droid head light just to get some good light on it. And this is the oven-baked version that I did. I used a Dremel to shape it a little bit more and to hollow it out. This is where things go bad. I never make it back to that Ghostbusters Afterlife Death Whistle. Never. I wound up in some conversation, having some back and forth with Brian from the Smuggler's Room, and I was asking him how his video quality is so great, because I really think his look professional, way better than my rinky-dink little setup, and he said the secret was lighting. He said, even if you have a bad camera and your system isn't great, the better lighting you have, the better the video quality looks. So my plan was to make one new light so that the video quality was better for you. See, I'm blaming you for my trip into insanity. I was trying to make the picture better. I was going to make one light, never make it back to Ghostbusters. So begins my trip into insanity. Here we go. So this is the wiring harness that I built and the cabling that will divide the room between the normal build side and the Star Wars carved base side. This is the old light fixture and it's on what will be the base side, and I'm replacing this light fixture with a light cable system that I bought. It allows you to have a bunch of hanging lights in your room. It has the ability to add 10 hanging lights. Some are going to be used to power things on the crashed ship and others for additional lights, but I am using some for what they were intended to be used for, hanging lights. But me being a total nerd, they will be droid heads and robot carcass parts and things like that that have been converted into lighting. I took a lot of inspiration from Galaxy's Edge and The Mandalorian. The exposed harness and wiring will work perfectly to the way this room looks. I am pre-bundling all of these together, and then I will throw this all into the wire nuts in the fixture and start hanging up my droid heads. I installed it and threw in a test bulb. Don't be like me. If you do something like this, do dry fits of the project before you commit. I put no thought into how the fixture side would attach to the droid parts and never bothered to even look at the hardware that came with it to hang and attach the cords to the ceiling. I did all of this out of order, and now I'm forced to try and see how hard it is to take apart the fixture side of the socket and thread that through the head and see if I can figure this out. And here's a little secret. I was unsuccessful. It's just not made to come apart at this side, and I wound up ripping out everything out of the ceiling and just started over. So what I'm now going to do is create droid part lamps one at a time and then wire them into that fixture in the ceiling as I complete them. It was a waste of about 50 minutes. Again, I thought about editing all of this part out of the video and making it look like I knew what I was doing, but I wanted to help you with my stupidity to save you some time. My pain is your gain. This first droid head isn't 3D printed. This is a real jet engine burner can, and it's not the correct year Rolls-Royce burner can for the real IG-88, and I'm not good enough with my 3D printer yet to whip one out like Derek at Van Oaks Props did. The real ones go for huge sums of money on eBay, and I picked this one up for about $40, and if they would have had more, I would have just bought them all. And I'm trying to leave it naturally weathered since it looks amazing. Eventually I may add a few more lights and some stuff to it to make it look more IG, but for now I'm just going to enhance some of the weathering and add some more pronounced rust, and I'm starting with dark lines of rusty drips. Then I will come back and add a thinner mark of orange rust inside those dark stains. I'm just trying to make this look like it's been hanging in the weather for a very long time. I also don't want to detract from the cool look that it already has. I've never used these model weathering paints. I'm just trying something new. I'm now going to add some wire poking through some of the holes using a bit of Cat 5 cable and stripping it and then pulling it through to make this bot look like it's scrap parts. I still can't believe that I didn't try and dry fit and work through this whole process for hanging this before I installed everything. I'm now having to put all of this back together, and it's a pain. Again, don't be like me and figure out how you are installing everything before you overcommit. Okay, one head has been installed. I want to add a bit more to him eventually, but this is going to work for now. Now, if you've seen some of my old videos, a while back when I was at Galaxy's Edge, they were having a sale on droid body parts, 3 for the price of 1, and I bought the R5 head that became my desk lamp.
video up there above. I'm going to use some of these other droid parts for droid lights now. And because I ripped everything off the ceiling, these will all be much easier to install. I'm going to weather this with brown and black water-based oil paints, and I'm going to do the same to this black and white BB-8 body. I'm using switches and wiring harnesses and different bits from that phone operator cord board as guts to hang from these discarded droids. Remember the cord board that I took apart and has been sitting on my picnic table. I'm also going to make a neck for my IG. I have a piece of this corrugated tube that I will rough cut the end and then hang a plug from the cord board and some random wires to create a neck for my discarded IG unit. I'm shaping it just a bit with a heat gun, and I will add some silver rub and buff and more oils to dirty up my brand new droid and make it more believable. Yeah, remember when I was just going to do one light so that I could work on my Ghostbusters whistle? Yeah, it's still there. It's lonely in the upper right-hand corner of my screen. I haven't touched it in about 4 hours. I'm starting to wonder if we should start some sort of a support group. I have some serious build issues. Am I the only one that loses days working on Star Wars stuff for my room build and some of the other projects that I've got around? I should just stop right here. 3 droid headlamps should be good. All right, I'm going to regain my sanity and stop. Never mind. Sanity is overrated. I just remembered I bought this broken BB-8 toy. It didn't work, and I got it for $15 on Facebook Marketplace. It could make another really cool discarded droid lamp. My kids are going to forget who I am. I've been out here for so long. I think my plan is to take this apart and have the head blown off and dangling from internal wires and make this look like it rolled over a thermal detonator and blew the bottom of this BB-8 off. All right, now that it's in half, I have to have the head dangling, and I need to add some more wires and damage and more weathering. I'm doing this with the same brown and black oil paints. I also went outside and took the grinder to the base so that it gave me a very melty and rough cut on the bottom of this droid. I'm going to use the airbrush and add some burned blast marks from the detonator blast hole, starting with black. Adding a bit of yellow and a rust color. I'll also do a rough pass with the airbrush for the whole BB-8 unit. I took it outside and sprayed the interior of the bottom half in a black primer just to kind of have it fade away. I'm going to dangle more wires and connectors from this to, help sell my vision or my insanity, however you look at it. I'm also using the battery pack that was already on this to supply some power to a few random LEDs here and there that will add to my overall idea. It's funny because I was talking to this builder in one of my Facebook nerd groups, Jim Strock, and he said that he liked my channel because, and I'm paraphrasing, he didn't say it like this, but this was the overall idea. He said he liked it because I just kind of winged things until I made them work. Nothing fancy, just stuff that anyone could do with what they had if they just put in the time. And again, he didn't say it exactly like this, but this is kind of the idea that I got from what he was saying, and that is exactly what I'm trying to do today. Now, let's put all of this together and dangle all of my wire and LEDs and switches that I got from the cord board and see if I can finish up this light. All right. BB is put together and it's time to hang this one. I will add some additional weathering to tie both halves together since they were weathered separately, and I think I'll stop at 4 droid heads. I think eventually I would like a remnant trooper head and maybe a few other things that I'm going to tackle a different day. I think I'm calling today's project finished. Well, technically, it's not even what I started on. The Death Whistle's not finished, but I'm calling the first 4 hanging lights of my all-new Star Wars room build lighting system finished. I really hoped you liked this video. This has been one of my favorite projects that I've worked on so far, and if you liked it, if you could share it and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. If you didn't, as always, just keep it to yourself, and we'll see you next time as we try to finish something. Yeah, I'm gonna have to come back to those a different day.